We are joined now by Daniel Berke, the director of UK Lawyers for Israel. Daniel, how significant is this truly legally that Palestine Action is now designated as a terrorist organization in the UK? What does it actually change in practice?
Well, it's not quite designated yet. It's been put before Parliament. It passed with an overwhelming majority before the House of Commons, but it now has to go before the House of Lords, and a legal challenge has been listed. But it is very likely to pass the House of Lords, and it's then down to whether or not the legal challenge succeeds. And the key issue there is whether or not this interferes with the right of freedom of expression, the right to protest, which are enshrined in human rights law here. But human rights law, it allows freedom of expression, but that does not extend to committing criminal activities. And Palestine Action has repeatedly carried out criminal activities, and those activities meet the legal definition of terrorism. Terrorism in UK law, the Terrorism Act 2000, it's where there's the use or threat of action that's designed to influence the government or to intimidate the public or a section of the public. And the use of the threat is made for the purpose of advancing a political, religious, racial or ideological cause. And that will involve serious violence against people, damage to property, endangering life or threatening to do that, creating serious risk to public health and safety. Now, the powers under the Terrorism Act allows the Home Secretary to ask Parliament to prescribe or designate an organisation. And once it's designated, and to answer your question, it means that it then becomes illegal to belong to that prescribed organisation. It's illegal to invite or express support for it, to arrange meetings, raise finance, wear clothing or carry articles in public which give suspicion that that person is a member or a supporter of it. We used to have in the UK a lot of these hate marches. People would carry flags of groups like Hezbollah until they were prescribed, and it can carry up to 14 years in prison. Now, actually, even recently, several student unions had been calling for support for Palestine Action from, it won't surprise your listeners to hear, the usual suspects such as King's College, Manchester University, SOAS, which has been nicknamed the School of Orchestrated Anti-Semitism. Now, to support those groups, if they were to now, or once Palestine Action's fully prescribed, it would become illegal to express that support. There are about 80 groups on the list under the Terrorism Act. That includes Irish nationalist groups, Irish loyalist groups, the Basque separatist group ETA, and a number of Islamist groups. So it will make a difference. It will mean that Palestine Action can no longer carry out the attacks they've been doing. And it's worth looking at those. Their attacks have been violent. There is nothing to stop people protesting about the Palestinian cause as they see it and doing that peacefully. They do not need to carry out the actions that Palestine Action have carried out. Over 100 people have faced trial in respect of Palestine Action attacks, almost 100 convictions. There are a number of trials going on, and that's included for offences of violence against security guards, against members of staff of the businesses they've targeted, blackmail, aggravated burglary, that's burglary when you're carrying a weapon, damage in the millions of pounds. They've attacked factories and businesses involved in the defense industry, particularly if they consider they're linked to Israel, or they are linked to Israel. A lot of these businesses provide equipment to the British Armed Forces, to Five Eyes countries, to Ukraine. They've attacked landlords of businesses that are linked to those organizations, government buildings, banks such as Barclays. And even on their website, they have instructions on how to commit crimes. They have kits that can be downloaded, such as and ordered, such as these red outfits they're wearing, and how to convert fire extinguishers to fire paint. So this is not, as the young lady in the keffiyeh was saying on your programme a moment ago, an interference with lawful protest. One can protest lawfully and not use a sledgehammer. It's perfectly possible. Recently, and perhaps the final straw, was when they attacked the very actually dreadfully secured military airbase at Brize Norton and damaged military aircraft. So it is an important piece of legislation. I think it's worth noting that it passed by a very large majority. There were only a few who dissented. It won't surprise you to hear that Jeremy Corbyn, the former Labour leader, was amongst those. It passed by 385 to 26.
So certainly the support for this, and as you were just describing, some very serious allegations against this group and serious consequences once and if this does pass. Daniel Berke, the director of UK Lawyers for Israel, thank you so much for joining us and discussing this.
Thank you.
Now,